XML namespace. Okay, sometimes we have problem with writing the XML document. So what problems we can face during writing the XML documents? You look at this example. Some problems like recognition and collision in having the identical names, but in different definitions. Although this is identical name, but definition is different. Look at here XML document, then the body. This is tag is starting tag is body, also starting tag body, but inside the content is here is within the paragraph. Welcome to my health resource. Okay. On the other hand, you look at here, this is also defined as body, but this is defined as the height and the weight of the body. Okay, start and ending tag. So this is sometimes in the XML, we cannot define the same thing with a different definition. This is the problem of XML document. But we can solve this problem using the XML namespace. Okay, in that case, XML namespace, it is provide uniquely names elements and attributes to avoid names conflict in an XML document. So in each vocabulary is given a namespace, the ambiguity between the identity name and the elements or attributes can be resolved. That means if there is a problem with recognition, something like the body is defined, we want to define indifferently, it can be solved through the namespace. Okay, so look at how we can solve this problem. In the XML namespace declaration, so using XMLNS attribute. So this is a start tag name. This is XMLNS prefix. We have to use one prefix. Then we have to use the equal namespace URI. Okay, now we're going to apply this declaration. Element or attribute name start with the prefix and the colon. Okay, look at these examples. Okay, the prefix, then colon, tag name, the content description, then ending tag prefix, colon, tag name. The namespace URI is not used by the parser to look up the information. The purpose of using an URI is to give the namespace is unique name. So because of we use this prefix, this is basically used for differentiate between the two unique names. Okay, now look at this example. I think it will be clear to you how we can differentiate between the unique names. So this is declaration is okay. Then the record, the root elements. Now look at here. The prefix is here. We use the H colon table, then XMLNS colon H equal to prefix equal to. Then we put the definition is here. Okay, we use the what is the definition for that is the link for definition. So we use www.org.tr and the table. Then we define through the H tr. This we are going to define the table row. Then H colon td table definition. Then this is the computer. Then table definition finish. Then table td again table definition. This is the printer. This is the content, and table definition is finished. Then table row close and the table tag is closed. Similarly, we can use here F is another one. It's also name is the furniture. This is the table. This is the furniture. We can use the table. We can define XMLNS colon F. Then we put the definition using the link is given. The standard rule they follow using this definition. F dot name. Then the content is here. Then end tag F colon with F colon length and F colon table. And the record, close the ending tag of record. Okay, look at this explanation of here. The XMLNS attributes in the first table, this is the first table. Elements give the H, the prefix is H, prefix a qualified namespace. The XMLNS attributes in the second table, we use the F. The second table, we use the F. This is also a qualified namespace. When a namespace is defined for an element, all children elements with the same prefix are associated with the same namespace. That means we can differentiate between these two tables using one is using H and one is using the F, so that there will be no conflict between these two tables. Next, XML namespace examples 2. The first line is the XML version declaration. Second, we can use the record XMLNS:H. Then we define as a table. And then also second one, similarly, we can put here XMLNS:F equal to HTTP, the rules and regulations followed by this website. So we can use this is as a namespace can be declared in the XML root element. So we directly use in the root elements first. Then we can define each of the elements. It will be much more easier for to define these two. H colon table. Then we define all H and define F again the table, F table. Then we define the name with table all this. So you see, so now if you want to use the XML directly, you cannot use this one, but using the namespace, yes, you can use the same name, but you can define in the different nodes. Next, default namespace. It is an unpredefined declaration of namespace. It applies to all unprefixed elements name within its scope. For example, XMLNS equal to, we put namespace URI. Look at the examples here. This is the first line of declaration as it is. Okay. Notebook, we can use, this is another way we can use the default namespace, XMLNS. Then we put the link, website link. That is actually rules and regulation defined here, www.notebook.com. Then we use the starting tag, ending tag, starting tag, ending tag, starting, ending. Then notebook, the root elements tag. Next, well formatted XML document. How you write the well formatted Excel document. Then the first one is XML document with the correct syntax is called well formatted XML document. So you have to write with the correct syntax. Every XML document must have a root elements. Then next one, every element must have both a starting tag, we call the start tag, and the end tag. Look at here, name, start tag, end tag. Okay. Empty elements tag must be properly closed. If you want to use the empty element, you have to properly close. Start, this is the empty element tag. XML tags are case sensitive, so you have to exactly follow. If you follow name, of course, this is a small letter name. If you use N capital, you must have to follow the N tag N capital. Okay. Element must be properly nested. You must have to follow the properly nested elements. For example, book, title, book, title. This is incorrect. You must have to follow properly nested. If you put the book, then title, you have to follow, of course, title. Then once title finished, you have to finish book. Attribute values must be enclosed in a single or double quotes. That means if you use the attribute value, you must have to use single quote or double quotes. For example, time unit equal to double quotation days. This is must. Next, benefits of using XML documents. XML separates data from the HTML. Number 2, XML simplifies data sharing. XML simplifies data transport. Next, XML simplifies platform change. XML increases data availability. With XML, data can be available to all kinds of reading machines and then make it more available and for blind people or people with other disabilities. So this is also very important. Some XML related format. Okay, if you look at this picture, So if you look at here, this is the content, XML content. You see, XML content is here. Then the second one is the structure. That means how you can structure the XML content. So we call this is DTD XML schema. That means document type XML schema. How you want to structure this XML content. And the third one is representation. How you are going to present your XML documents, how it will be looks like once you want to present, or you want to give the output from these XML documents. So this presentation you can use for presentations. You can use XSLT for presentation of your XML document. That means XL XSLT means extensible style sheet language transformations, or you can use XSLFO. XSLFO means XSL formatting objects, or you can use the XPath. XPath means XML path language. So these are the XSLT, XSLFO, and XPath is used for presentation of your XML documents, how your XML documents will be look like once you want to present your XML document. Next, the last slide, XML related some technologies. What is mean by DTD? DTD means document type definition, and then XML means XML schemas. So these two, DTD document type definition and XML schemas, are used to define legal XML tags and their attributes for particular purposes. So I already told you, if you want to write any XML documents, so you need to follow some rules and regulations. So these rules and regulations are defined inside the DTD document definitions or inside the XML schema. Okay. Now next one is CSS. CSS is cascading style sheet. This is described how to display HTML or XML document in a browser. Okay. The next one is XSLT, extensible style sheet language transformation, and XPath. These are basically used to translate from one form of XML to another form. That means if you want to display your XML document in another format, for example, you want to display your document in PDF, or you want to display your document in doc format, or you want to display your document in Excel format, then you can use XLST or XPath to translate it from XML to other format. The last one is the DOM, Document Object Model, SAX, SAX, Simple API for XML, JAXP, Java API for XML processing. These are basically used for APIs for XML parsing. Okay, that's all for today.